And Alabama Representative Neil Rafferty, the only openly gay member of the Alabama legislature. He's been very outspoken on both of these laws and joins me now with more. Representative Rafferty, thank you for being here. You have said that these bills are undermining family rights, health rights, and access to health care. So what impact do you think these laws will have?
It remains to be seen what the impact these laws will have. There's no doubt that this will take a toll on the youth, the children and their families, as far as having greater stress. As I said on the floor, it's hard enough growing up. It's even harder growing up and being different. But imagine growing up, being different, and then having the state legislature, the leaders of the state putting a target on your back. That's just an impossible thing for me to kind of have to sit here and try to wrap my head around and consider. So I think the important thing is to let those youth and those families know that I have their back. There's a lot of organizations here on the ground that have their back and that want to support. So do not be afraid to reach out.
Now, Governor Kay Ivey said that she signed the bill restricting gender-affirming care to protect children from life-altering drugs and surgeries when they're at such a vulnerable stage in life. So what do you say to the bill's supporters who argue that minors aren't equipped to make decisions like this and might later regret those hormone treatments or those surgeries?
This is a talking point that they have been putting out and pushing since they first introduced this bill 3 years ago. And I said first time 3 years ago, I absolutely agree. I don't think anybody's going to argue that a minor needs to be making these decisions by themselves. That is why the gender-affirming care model is based on making sure that the child is the center of it, but the parents and then a team of healthcare and mental health care providers around the family to help guide them through the process. So we're not making any sort of permanent decision or anything like that. It's just guiding the minor through the process along with the family. And it's a very intensive process. It's not something that's just done overnight. It's not something that's just done in the process of a couple of months. I mean, we're talking about a lifelong process here. So that talking point's mute, if you want to ask me, because that's just a total misrepresentation and misunderstanding of the standards of care for gender-affirming care.
And can you describe that process in a little bit more detail? Just what goes into making that decision to offer this kind of care?
So I think that, probably Dr. Marissa Ladinsky would be probably the best one to ask that for. But I can say that the process starts off with, my understanding starts off with counseling, a diagnosis of a need to treat this condition physically, and then a very slow use of the drugs until it becomes very slow use of the drugs until the child is is an adult and is ready to make a more informed decision at that point. I can say that that's part of the misrepresentation of it, is that they started off with this whole, we're going to ban these surgeries and these permanent procedures. And the thing is with that is that that's not part of the standard of care. No minors are receiving that, not here in Alabama at least. So I don't know why that was such a thing that they kept harping on, other than to just create shock and awe and get people really rallied up, and so that they could put like I said, the target on these children's and their families' backs.
And as for the other law, Ivey said that it will ensure our elementary school classrooms remain free from any kind of sex talk. That was her quote. What's your response to that?
Well, I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of sexuality and gender identity and sex. We're not talking about sex education. We're not talking about anything like that, but we are talking about the recognition of families. That there are gay people, lesbians, bisexual people who have children, who have families, who are married, who are in committed relationships. But this is just a complete denial and erasure of that. I was really offended when one of my colleagues, Representative Scott Stathagen, said on the floor regarding this bill that it's kind of like looking at movie ratings. You have G, PG, PG-13, and R. And the existence of LGBTQ people is not a rated PG-13 or rated R human experience. We're not talking about sex. We're not talking about how to have sex. None of that's part of the discussion here. What we're talking about is that, there's a diversity of human experience, and that there should be no reason to prohibit the discussion of those in an age-appropriate manner.
So how do you plan to fight these bills now that they have been signed into law?
Well, I think that's going to be up to the courts now. Speaking with the Biden administration, talk to the Department of Justice, you can see that they've issued several statements regarding this, as well as with HRSA. So I think it's going to be, right now, the HRC, the SPLC, the Center for Lesbian Rights, and Lambda Legal have all teamed up, all have plaintiffs and are ready to go.
All right, Representative Neil Rafferty, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.